Welcome, 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 everyone, to Beyond a Boardroom Business. I'm your host, Coach Stephanie, and tonight, the first episode of the year, I am so excited to have my first guest. And as a business strategist, it only makes sense to have a CPA on the show because all of us business owners and entrepreneurs, we really need to be in alignment with our business and make sure that nothing falls apart, especially when it comes to taxes. So that's why I decided to have my CPA, Mr. Henry Mitchell, come on and just give us some tips because he has a lot of information. So make sure you share this episode, you hit the like button, you take notes, and follow up with him with your questions. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Mr. Henry Mitchell. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm fine and nice talking to you. Happy
Awesome.
New Year to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Mr. Henry Mitchell, CPA, tell us, who are you?
Well, I've been in here in Atlanta area for almost 30 years as an accountant, uh, part-time instructor at Georgia Military College, Atlanta Metropolitan College. I've also taught accounting, and I've been making my livelihood here, serving the Atlanta community, small business areas especially. I deal with a lot of businesses and
Okay.
accounting, taxes, payroll, and consulting for small businesses. That's substantially what I've been doing here in the area of professionalism.
Wow. 30 years. I
Yeah.
mean, this is definitely your calling. So, what
Yeah.
inspired you to becoming a CPA to begin with?
I think the good Lord just led me. Honestly, when I was going to college, I remember telling my uncle I want to be a politician. But when I entered college, I saw that business entrepreneurship started to attract me. So during my second year, I just flipped and started accounting. And from there on, that has been my hobby to serve in a small business. And I like dealing with small businesses because that entrepreneur spirit, man, is lively. And you just see some of them and uh, you work with, you see the level of energy and the dynamism. So I enjoy that. Especially a lot of young people in Atlanta area are so full with spirit of that entrepreneur spirit.
Yes, yes. Thankfully, I mean,
Yeah,
I love entrepreneurship.
I love it. Uh,
Are there any common misconceptions about CPAs?
well, every profession has its own little
Yeah.
ups and downs. Our profession, one thing about it is that if you serve like what I'm doing as a sole proprietor, I mean, even though I incorporated, yes, sometimes you find clients that uh, you would like to make sure that when you have a client, you seek their interest to grow. But sometimes now we see a lot of young people with that dynamism coming into the profession or coming into uh, business that don't last
Oh,
because of not getting the right professional consultation early in their lives. That's one of the regrettable part I see in the business where you see some guys who have the desire to succeed, but then they have made so much of mistakes. And the greater mistake is not finding a professional accountant to work with or
mm,
tax advisor. That is one thing that as an accountant, really I regret that many of our young people do not take that first step of finding a mentorship or a team of professionals that will help you, like a certified public accountant, insurance, because you need to insure your business,
mm.
uh, financial advisors, and get in contact with the bankers. Those are, you need a financial team when you come to business and you have the intent to grow. CPA, a lawyer, banking, consultation, insurance, those are areas that many of our community, the community I serve, mainly the minority community, some are not proactive. They
Okay.
go into business with not having the right mentorship, not having the right professional consultation. As a result, some results into what you just mentioned prior to our coming here, that one of our uh, illustrious guys is in a tax issue
Yes.
because
Yes.
no consultation.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
From the Atlanta Housewives. Yes. Robert
yeah.
Thomas. Mm-hmm. Yes. Very
And
unfortunate. And
unfortunately, because not seeking first the consultation, the right advice.
that's
So as a
right.
accountant, you regret that you have people who want to succeed, but then they start so late about what they need to know before they start a business.
Right. I'm sorry. It's Peter Thomas. Peter Thomas from the Atlanta Housewives. He's
All right.
having to serve 18 months for tax
And
evasion.
and
Yeah.
it all that has just come about because not having the right professional consultation advice. That's all what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that one of the regrettable part in the accounting profession in my area, where you find some young people who have that spirit to succeed, but then they start so late. When by the time you meet them, they are already done so much damages to their own records.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
how should people find accountants or CPAs? What's the difference between an accountant and a CPA?
Accountant is anyone who has not yet got the certification, because to be a CPA, you have to take a rigorous exam and pass it, and then you are now proclaimed a CPA, certified public accountant. You are
Okay.
certified by means of examinations, and
Wow.
then also uh, work record too, whether you got a good work history. Because I
Okay.
remember when I became a CPA, first of all, you have to show you pass the exam, then you have to also show that you have a 3 years practice record. So
Oh,
those are some of the requirements. Then coming on as a CPA, you are licensed and you are monitored by the accounting bodies, and there are two major accounting bodies that you got to report to: the Certified Public Accounting of Georgia, the Accountancy Board of Georgia, then the American Institute of Certified Public Accounting. As a CPA, you are regulated out of audited a year to see how well you are handling your practice and your level of your fiduciary responsibilities to your client.
yes.
Let's just say, for instance, right now the IRS has required CPAs and other tax filers who are not CPAs. They should have they should have on record some documentation that clients' documents and papers, their information are all maintained in a proper manner.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Who knew? I mean, and so my back to my first question is, how should a person find the financial team? By word of mouth, or what's the best advice for that?
Very good question. Well, every one of us, you know people in your neighborhood, your community, then your family, your friends. Sometimes that's how you started. Okay, look, talking to a friend, and that friend is a professional who practice into. Ask them how they got there. Because first of all, you have to have some contact point first. Or maybe you could just go to a bank, open an account at a bank as a small business owner. Believe me, ask that banking officers or whoever in that bank, say, look, how can I get a certified public accountant? How can I get an insurance agent? Definitely you will soon get a connection there. Then when they say that this person is a CPA, this guy is an insurance agent, make sure you do your own due diligence.
Yes.
They said you trust, but you have to verify. Uh, Everybody can be CPAs, a certified public accountant, but we all has our own personal uniqueness. You want someone that will be on your team that will seek your interest. You want who is on your team that had the credibility. So you can say that uh, someone recommended another person, so you just take it as face value, but you have to quite do your own due diligence. So
Okay.
to answer the question, you have to know someone from the beginning. Let's say go to a bank. Once you open a bank account, that's an avenue, an opportunity for you to even question, ask some of them to recommend credible people. Or
Okay.
your certified public accountant can also be a source of a lot of information. So you have to have one of them first on your team, and that team member, when that guy is on your team, then they can recommend others. It's not like you
Gotcha.
have to be going to the CPA first. You got to go to the insurer. Just know one of them, and the starting point is a bank, mainly.
That makes sense. That's a
Yes,
that's a great response. So my
yes.
next question is, um, what I wanted to ask you. I had it. So uh, it's going to come. Oh, well, let's talk about that BOI. What's going on with that, and why is it such a big deal right now?
I just must. The BUI is what the transparency, where it used to be a part of the IRS, but they
Mhm.
went and took it and sent it over to another branch of the government. We first sent the financial uh, uh, corporation team. So now they want everyone or every business of certain status to file uh, a record showing the ownership, who all owns that business, and LLCs, S corp, individual supervisorship, they all must file that. But the part about it right now is that there was a court issue, a lawsuit came to stop that because they thought that it didn't worth it. Why
Okay.
should owners of business who having so much records all over the place? Because business owner already having a record with the IRS. They have record with the state. So why another branch of government again to come and type into asking people to file a separate ownership? And that could record, they could uh, deny fencing from continuing with that. So it was suspended. But just a few days, we have got another, the injunction, our first declared that injunction was nullified. So we must file it, and we have up to January 13th to file it again.
Okay.
So I even I put some of my client on notice. I don't know, you got a letter from me about that BOI. It was suspended, and now I had to call people again and tell them those who are not filed, so that we can go on and file the form. And
Okay.
and the fees involved, the filing fees is quite extensive. I mean, talking about $500 some dollar per day. It doesn't
Wow.
make sense to me whether someone should be penalized that kind of hefty fees.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah, it's $500 per day. So
wow. Mm.
so there where we are with our BOI. But it's something very strange. We ourselves as team members, as accountant, we didn't expect that.
Okay.
But we all
Wow.
have to comply.
Mm.
And you got
Wow.
until January 13th to
January
file.
13th.
Yeah,
Yes. I'm gonna double check to
yeah.
make. Can we check on irs.gov to confirm that it's all
N-
good, or is it the Secretary of State? Or
No, you just go input in there, just Google say BOI filing. It will come out.
okay, that's true. That's true.
Yes,
All right.
BOI filing. Yeah,
All
you'll
right.
get
So
that.
all right. So my next question, which I was stumbling on a moment ago, is I wanted to ask you: is it an accountant or CPA's requirement to try to find the best amount of savings for their client, or are they supposed to just do the
Saving
books?
in what area? That saving in what area?
I
You
don't
mean
know. Just
tax?
when it comes to taxes at the end of the year, this is just not my thing. This is
Okay,
I'm. Uh-huh.
okay. As you know, for the years you've been with me, I send out a client tax letter. Probably I try to do that quarterly, and I always point out some of the latest
Yeah.
development. What are some of the benefits? I always try to do that. Uh, but where a CPA will just get up to say looking for tax saving, this. Yeah, but it depends really on the needs of a client. Because as a small business owner, as a CPA, you have diverse backgrounds of businesses. You have people in the manufacturing, you have people in
Sure.
the service business. So if a client has a specific need and come to
Mhm.
you, of course, as a CPA, that's a chance for you to help that client.
That's
But
true.
many times, again, we don't have the small businesses to come out to ask a CPA. You don't have that either. Henry, this is what I'm planning to do. But what could be the tax consequences? It's hard for many people to come to do that. And that's one of the problem we have with the small business owner. They don't really know uh, 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 that you have a CPA on your team before you make a move. Ask your CPA what would be the tax benefit versus the cost. That's the time that CPA should be there to help you. But if you put the cart before the horse, we mean you commit you go through the transactions, then before you can ask a CPA, it's too late.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So so CPA should be there to work for their client, but sometimes it depends on the small business owners to ask the accountant, what should I do with the transaction? Should I put money into my IRA? Should I put money into my 401k? All the questions, yeah, there was CPA should be there for. But many times the client don't ask questions.
I see. I see. So, in general, can you tell me what's the difference between an LLC, an S corp, and a C corp, since those are like the main
All
corporation?
right. Uh, C Corp and S Corp are much they are much closer in terms of the tax consequences and the way they are formed. First of all, you have to, as every corporation in Georgia must start as a C Corp.
Okay.
Then when you have a C Corp, you can convert that C Corp to an S Corporation by filing Form 2553 with the IRS. And
Mm,
in my whole life, I've not seen IRS deny any C Corp that want to convert to S Corp. Normally, you will qualify as an S Corporation. Now, what the difference between a C Corp and an S Corp? C Corp uh, has a big advantage of double taxation.
okay.
I mean, when a C Corp makes a profit, it pays tax on it. When the owner takes that profit, then the owner got to pay tax, that double taxation. But the
Okay.
bigger client, like let's just say for Home Depot, uh, if they are C Corp, whatever profit they make, they will distribute to their owners as distribution or dividend. Then when that dividend comes to you as a owner, a part of that corporation, you got to pay tax on it. For
Mhm.
S Corp, that double taxation is waived because Congress found that it was too burdensome for small businesses. So as S Corp, you only pay tax once. The S Corp does not pay tax. All the profit from the S Corp, it comes to the owners as distribution or dividend. And yeah, you pay tax so once. That's one of the biggest advantages of S Corporation. That double taxation is waived. Now, that's S and C. LLC, uh, it's treated a little different. It's treated like a partnership. A
Okay.
partnership is a business that is owned by two or more persons,
Okay.
and their tax filing is quite different. If you are
Mm,
LLC and you have two members or more in the LLC, you must file as a partnership. If you are only one person who own the LLC, you will file as a sole proprietorship.
oh.
Now they have their own advantages, disadvantages. For especially with the LLC, if it is a profitable LLC, one thing I will tell you is your tax can be steep a little bit because you will still pay the self-employment tax.
Mm,
That's the one we even the many lawyers and CPAs who are corporation, they are S corporation to avoid that self-employment tax. So people need to be aware of that. Even though there are some advantages with the LLC compared to the state laws, that's one of the area that corporation LLC is really good in. If anyone comes to me and they are in a real estate business where it has a lot of expenses in the real estate business.
Okay.
You can register a LLC. I don't have problem with that. You will still be fine. But just in the service business, I will advise you convert that LLC to S corporation. All right, let me stop there. I talked too long. Yeah. As you got.
Okay, so with this being the beginning of the year, what should business owners and entrepreneurs, how should they start preparing now for the tax season?
All right, the year is over now, and by December 31, if you are a small business, most of your transactions that will be captured on your tax return, they have already been done. So the only thing now, right now, is if you are a small business and you have an accountant, contact your accountant and tell him or her, outlook, this is my gross for the year, this is my expenses, how do I look like? If you think that you have some taxes you may owe, go ahead now and make an estimated tax deposit on or before January 15 to avoid penalty. Because if by January 15, after January 15, and you owe taxes for prior year, penalty will start to accrue. Late filing penalty, then the interest and everything added. So the best thing is to talk to your accountant to find out where you stand with respect to your profit. Because if you have more profit and you are S corporation, then you will owe tax. So that tax not paid by January 15 through that estimated tax deposit, you will start to accrue interest and penalty.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, how can a business stay compliant with tax regulations?
There where your financial team should be close to you if you want to keep up with the latest and what uh, may affect your business. Talking to your accountant, and I think accountants should be close to their client in the sense that any new regulation, anything that's going to have impact on your taxes coming from the IRS, coming from the state, of course, there were an accountant should be able to send out some notification to client about what they should expect that coming in 2024 and 2025. Those are things that I think the CPA should keep abreast of. Also, it's not only on the part of the CPA, but the business owner should also be close to the accountant at this time to find out, look, any new development, what there for me, what is in it for me this year. And then also tell your accountant, I intend, let's say this year I want to buy a home. What should I plan? Be looking at my business, looking at my income. What should I do right now so that when I go to buy a new home, I'll be on the safe side. I mean, all of your documentations are ready. So those are the things that accountant and the client should be working hand in hand so that to make sure future development will not hinder your normal life.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that. I'm
Yeah.
glad you expressed that. So, what's the best way to maximize savings for business owners and entrepreneurs for this
All
year?
right. To maximize saving, one thing I tell clients, one tool you need is a budget. But I say this again, unfortunately, many of our small business, our minority community wouldn't do well with budgeting.
Yeah.
Because the reason for budgeting is to have saving. Because if you don't control your expenses, because you already know your income, that's what's clear to even you in business. If you're keeping good record of your business, you will know whether you're going to have income that's taxable. And that taxes you can, if you have a good plan, that tax could be reduced. And what is reduced by will go toward your saving. So actually in the budget, there are three elements. Number one, income, expenses, and saving.
Mm.
Everyone need to have a business have the same formula. A business has a budget. What they want to do is they know their income, they know their expenses, then whatever between the income and the expense, that will be what savings.
Right.
If you don't have the budget in place, how can you control your expenses? If
Right.
your expenses are, if you don't team your expenses, it's hard to provide savings.
Yes.
So But with a 401k for those who are working for other people, for entities, of course, you can subscribe to the 401k. Uh, there where you can make your saving. But generally, for small business owners, you need to have a budget because without budget, your expenses are not controllable. You have to control your expenses in business to provide for saving. So, as I said, there are three elements in the budget: the income, the expenses, and the saving. Now,
Yeah.
you have to control the expenses, and whatever you control, that goes to saving. And so that's one thing I tell small business. You have to lay by budget. But then people sometimes overlook it, say, I don't have that much, so don't no need to contemplate about budgeting. No, control what you have. And the way to control it to lay by a budget.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So now with the budgeting, are there any tools or resources that you recommend that can help track our finances
I
as
think
business owners?
look, right now, as I said, I use QuickBooks. All
Okay.
right. But I find Excel very, very compatible for me, handy. Excel. You could have Excel, and there are many templates in there with
Yeah.
Excel.
Okay.
You can use some of those templates to have a good spreadsheet to manage your budget. Excel is
Yes.
one of that's why Excel is all about. It has so many templates about controlling your expenses.
Wow. And
Yeah.
that's great. And we already have that on our computer in most cases.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's on your computer. You buy Mac. You once you've got Microsoft Word there, you have Excel, all those tools, PowerPoint. But yeah, that's one of the best budget tools that I use.
Now, off the record, I guess on the record, but what about those devices that, if I go on a business lunch meeting and I want to save the receipt, I scan it and send it to you. Do you recommend that, or is the online banking sufficient? What should I do with the receipts?
What? Well, here, keep a receipt when the amount exceeds is $75 or more.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's any receipt that is one item that you want to buy that is less than 75, the hour will not require you keeping the receipt. But you must have a log, you must have a list of what it is.
Okay.
So
That's good
out
to know.
here, I don't keep those receipt, but I have when I bought something for $74, I have a logbook. I put that in there and make sure that I have a list of all the items that I bought less than $75. But anything above $75, you need to keep a record on that. Well,
Wow.
what tools you use, you can check with your bank. Maybe the bank can have some, the bank website can have some information or some tools there that you could use.
Okay.
But not
Okay.
one that I have handed I can recommend to anyone.
And how many years does the IRS go back in your history if there's an audit? Hopefully, no one has to go through that. But how many years do they check that you need to make sure that your records are on point?
Well, I didn't get that. They should do.
Okay,
They
so
should.
I'm asking, like, if I've never been audited, knock on wood, but if somebody were to be audited,
You
uh,
never been audited. Good luck. Good for you.
yes, I have the greatest CPA.
Yeah.
That's why. But does the IRS want to go back into your history for whatever reason, and you need to make sure that your taxes from the years before are on point? How long do you need to hold on to your taxes before you can discard them?
Really, uh, technically 3 years
3 years.
from the day
Okay.
you file the tax return for
Yeah.
the start counting that day. If it's 3 years, the IRS will normally not come after you. But if IRS got some information from elsewhere that you
I
were
see.
involved in fraud,
Okay.
identity theft, or other things that violates or contravenes the law, definitely they can come to you.
Yeah.
There's no statute of limitation on that. Anything
Oh,
that got to do with fraud, they can go many years.
that's good. That makes sense. So,
Yes.
do you have any last words, any tips, or anything you would like to leave the viewers and listeners on,
Okay. All I have for small business owners, uh, the year has ended. Check your record to see if you're going to owe some taxes. Go ahead and make your estimated tax deposit before by January 15 to avoid unnecessary penalties, interest. Even if you are self-employed and you may be employed. If you are employee, you can still make estimated tax deposit if you find out that your W-4 were not completed correctly. The W-4 is the form you complete and get to your employer, authorizing them to take taxes from you. So you find out that your income went up maybe the last quarter of the year, and you know that you have not been subject to better withholding, make some estimated tax deposit, because those are the unnecessary payment that people make to the government. When I see those forms coming to me, that they're paying late penalty, interest. So get rid of that. And then this is the time to also consult with your accountant to see what uh, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages for tax issue in 2025, and
wow.
then start working towards that with your accountant, and especially get in mind, what do you want, what is your goal for 2025 financially speaking.
Yeah.
That goal you need to share with your accountant, so that he or she will have on mind when they are handling your business transaction in 2025, or even the end of the year. So those are the few things I would let you. And then for individual, yes, if you have children, uh, you will do much better with the earned income tax credit and the child tax credit, because the child tax credit now, about 1,700 of that, of the $2,000 is now refundable. Only
Okay.
300 is not refundable. So that's,
Okay.
and then the standard deductions. Individual, your standard deduction is now going to be, I think, uh 14,600. For head of household, it's going to be about 21,900. Married couple, that's going to be about 29,200. Those are very good standard deduction for this year. All right.
Mm. Oh,
Yes.
wow. That's great. Well,
Yes.
I have 1,000 more questions, but I'll ask you later. So thank you. Now, how can people find you?
Well, my email, uh, my website, go to henrymitchellcpa.com, or my email address is henrymitchellcpa@gmail.com. Henry
Awesome.
Mitchell, CPA@gmail.com. Or call me. Henry Mitchell, phone number is 678-663-6229.
All right. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I would love for you to come back on in a couple of months and update us on anything we need to know as far as being business owners and entrepreneurs.
Thank you
Okay.
so much for having me. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, everyone, I hope you all appreciated this opportunity to hear from the guru himself. 30 years of being involved as a CPA. I mean, that's if you just can't get any wiser than someone that has 30 years. So I highly recommend that you give Mr. Henry Mitchell a call if you have any tax questions, because the IRS is nothing to play with. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Feel free to introduce me to anyone that you feel is a true trailblazer and needs to be on this show, Beyond Boardroom Business podcast, with your host, Coach Stephanie. And that's spelled with two F's for financially free. I hope you all have an enjoyable rest of your evening, and I look forward to seeing you all next week, the same day, on Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much. And until the next time, stay prayerful, stay persistent, and stay patient. Talk to you later.